Scottish girl is here again and again and again. A long time ago, when I was just a wee little Scots girl, and I used to live in Scotland with my grandfather Scotty, we used to have a lot of haggis in our backyard. And in case a lot of you are wondering what on earth is a haggis, see, a haggis is a three-legged bird, you know. And the thing with the haggis is that all of its legs are not even. So a haggis could only live up in the Highlands in Scotland, because in Scotland, especially in the Highlands, the ground isn't very even. So it makes it very easy for the haggis to stand up with their three uneven legs. So me and my grandfather, we used to have a lot of haggis in our backyard, and I used to play with them haggis. And it used to be a lot of fun. I used to run and jump with them haggis, and I even used to talk with them haggis. Sometimes I will say, ow, 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 ow. That means catch me if you can. And other times I would say, ow, 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 ow. Thank you all for being my friends. So them haggis, ooh, they were a really nice bunch of birds. But one evening, right, when I was playing with them haggis, a really terrible thing happened. You see, as I looked yonder over them hills, I suddenly saw these huge, big, hairy hooligans. They were coming in a hole. They were riding them donkeys, and they were coming down in their lorries, and they were armed with shotguns because they had come to hunt them haggis. Because you see, it's haggis season, and a lot of times people love to kill them haggis just for fun. is my grandfather Scotty picked up all them hooligans and started to stuff them into the barrels of Scottish whiskey. Because I got to tell you, when you make a dish out of some really fermented hooligans, it could be mighty tasty. You know what I mean? So at this point, my grandfather stuffed all them hooligans into them Scottish whiskey barrels. You see, he has this really good recipe. He was going to fry up them hooligans at a later time, being that they're really nice and well, how can I say it, marinated in Scottish whiskey. So he was going to fry up all them hooligans, guys, and he was going to feed them to the haggis. In this way, the haggis, them haggis going to get a lot of good protein, you know what I mean? So, at this point, me and my grandfather Scotty and all them haggis, we were finally happy, and we were so happy and free because them hooligans, we beat them hooligans, and they couldn't take any of our haggis. They couldn't take any of our haggis or kill any of our haggis. So then we all stood around in a circle, and then we started singing, "We're the haggis, high hooray! We'll live until next Hogmanay!" And with that, we concluded a lovely, lovely evening with haggis and my grandfather Scotty. Ow! 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 That means I love you, haggis, in haggis language.